We have the patron of the JDPC, the name of Brimo, M-A-N. Please welcome to the high table, sir. And then we have from the DSS, Itwe Kayode. Please correct, pardon me again if I pronounce this incorrectly. Please, you're welcome to the high table, sir. Thank you very much. Then last but not the least, we have our own very host, the Executive Director of JDPC Benin, Reverend Father Benedict Benin. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so let us hear from the chief host, the director of JDPC Benin, as he addresses us for this program. Thank you very much, Father. Please clap for me.
Welcome address presented by the Executive Director of Justice Development and Peace Center, Benin, the occasion of the International Human Rights Day celebration. And dear invited guests, I welcome you all, esteemed partners, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and enthusiasm that I welcome you all to this year's International Human Rights Day celebration, organized by the Justice Development and Peace Center. Today we gather under the global theme, Our Rights, Our Future, Right Now, a call to immediate action in ensuring that human rights are upheld and protected for every individual without exception. At Justice Development and Peace Center Benin, we have chosen to align this vision with our unique theme, From Isolation to Inclusion, Human Rights and Reintegration in Correctional Center. This theme reflects our commitment to shining a spotlight on one of the most marginalized and often forgotten groups in our society, those in correctional centers. The concept of human rights is rooted in the belief that all people, regardless of their circumstances, deserve dignity, fairness, and the opportunity to reintegrate into society as productive members. As articulated in Catholic social teaching, every person is created in the image of God and thus possess inherent dignity. This dignity must be respected and upheld, particularly for those who have been incarcerated and often face stigmatization and isolation. Sadly, the experiences of many within correctional facilities contradict this principle. Isolation, stigmatization, and the lack of integration opportunities undermine their rights and limit their potential for transformation. Today's celebration is not just about raising awareness. It is a call to action. It is a call to confront systemic barriers that perpetuate inequalities and neglect in our correctional centers. It is a call to bridge the gap between justice and compassion, advocating for improved conditions within these facilities and ensuring that reintegration programs are robust and effective. Catholic social teaching emphasizes the importance of the common good, which requires that we work towards the well-being of all members of society, especially the most vulnerable. As we delve into today's discussions, I encourage us all to reflect on the following. 1. How can we as a society transform correctional facilities from places of isolation into centers of hope, healing, and rehabilitation? 2. What concrete step can we take to guarantee the fundamental rights of those in correctional centers, ensuring that their future is not defined by past mistakes? 3. How do we build a more inclusive society that welcomes individuals post-incarceration, providing them with opportunities to contribute meaningfully? In this context, we must also remember the principle of solidarity, which calls us to stand with those who are marginalized and to recognize that we are all part of a larger human family. This celebration would not be complete without acknowledging the tremendous efforts of our partners, stakeholders, and advocates who continue to champion human rights in Edo State and beyond. Your support fuels our mission to create a more just and inclusive society. As we proceed with today's program, which includes insightful lectures, discussions, and a platform for voices from all walks of life, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to human rights for all. Let us work together to transform isolation into inclusion, ensuring that justice, fairness, and dignity are not just ideals. On behalf of the Justice Development and Peace Center Benin, I thank you all for being here today. Your presence is a testament to the shared vision we hold for a society where human rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled. Together, we can build a future where everyone, irrespective of their circumstances, has the opportunity to thrive. Once again, thank you, and may today's celebrations inspire meaningful change. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Another round of applause for Father. And so, while I was starting, I said I liked the direction that this year's Human Rights Day actually went, because those in correctional centers are people who, like he said in his speech, are marginalized and they are mostly looked down on. So today is actually a call for action for us to see what we can do, what we can say, to build on their rights and to ensure that they are properly integrated into the society once they have finished their time in the correctional centers. So thank you once again, Father, for that opening address. So very quickly, we will move to the goodwill messages for the day. So I'm just going to call on a few persons who are here to just say the word or two for JDPC and the partners and also the program in general from the organizations. So I'm going to start with the Commissioner of Police, who is ably represented here to give us a goodwill message. Please, a round of applause for him.
Reverend Father and all members of the high table, invited guests and participants in today's program, bring greetings from the Commissioner of Police, Edo State, who for one reason or the other, especially official engagement, is unavoidably absent. We are happy to be part of this program, and we want to commend the organizers of this program, first and foremost, and the Catholic Church too, for deeming it necessary to organize a program of this nature, marking the International Human Rights Day, meaning today is marked as an International Human Rights Day all over the world, Nigeria not being an exception. The topic, from what I've heard from our Reverend Father, issues arising especially for those who are in correctional centers, how they can come out from being isolated and to be included in a right to be protected. And by the grace of God, as we commence this program, a lot of things will unfold, and God willing, we will not go back the same way we have come. May God bless every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that good message. So while Father was giving his opening address, one of the patrons of JDPC Benin was walked in and accompanied to the high table by the name of Honorable Sonny Okomai. Please let us appreciate him in round of applause. Welcome, sir. All right, so the next person to give us a goodwill message we have from the NSCDC, CSC Jato Boduri. Please clap for her. She's blessed among them.
Reverend Father, I stand with the existing protocol. I came from NSCDC. I'm representing our commandant. He sent his goodwill message to all of us here. Correctional service, what our Reverend Father said, how can we transform? He said, how can we transform them, those who are in the correctional service? You know, correctional service was prison before. By putting it as a correctional service, is to correct those people who are already there. They normally give them some things to do so that they can, when they come out, they will be useful to the society and themselves. And we should encourage them. Because we know they are isolated, they don't have any say of their own. It's good to encourage them so that when they come out from the correctional service, they will be corrected for the bad thing they did. We pray that as we go on with this program, it will be a success. In Jesus' name.
Thank you very much, Madam, for that wonderful goodwill message. Okay. All right. So we're going to move straight to the lecture for the day, the first lecture of the day. I'm told on right authority that the person for the first lecture is not available at the moment now, so let us just move to lecture 2. Yes, so let's move to lecture 2. The topic for the lecture 2 is the media as a watchdog for human rights, addressing the role of media in exposing human rights violations. And this will be taken by none other than Sir Roland Osakwe, who is the former NEC chairman. Please, a round of applause for him as he gives us his lecture.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, let me acknowledge those at the high table, particularly the director of JDPC, the great pencil God is using in our time, a minister in the Lord's vineyard, Reverend Father Benedict. Thank you very much. When people were being introduced to the high table, the first person that was introduced to the high table, the Commissioner of Police, represented by my very great friend. When I looked at him earlier, I thought he was Parius Ayade. If you all know Parius Ayade, you know it's a very huge man. So, when he was being escorted to the high table, there were no highway patrolmen, no police escorting him. I was disappointed. But when I was to be introduced to the high table, or when I was introduced to the high table, I now asked the lady leading me, I said, go and bring police to escort me to the high table. So she giggled. Our great patrons were welcome. The director of DSS were also welcome. You look very much a handsome man. If I may a woman, I will follow you up today. NCDC, thank you very much. I know that at this time, your boss will be very, very busy now, just like that of the Commissioner of Police. You are welcome to this program. The whole of you are all welcome. anywhere you are seated is a hiding. It's a hiding. So why not clap for yourself, please? Because the lizard that falls from Iroko tree, when he fall down and nobody praises him, he would look at the Iroko tree and nod his head and say, I'm a man. So that is it. You are welcome. Today's topic is that I have been asked to work on the media as a watchdog for human rights, addressing the role of media in exposing human rights violations. I am not going to talk much on human rights. I'm going to talk on the role the press should play in exposing human rights. However, there will be some conversion to ensure that maybe you understand the topic very well. I have a very limited time because of all our guys who are seated at the high table and they will have to do one thing or the other in the office. But I'm not going to take you time. I'll be giving about 40 minutes, but at the end of 25 or 30 minutes, I'll be done. So just listen. The media, as a watchdog for human rights, addressing the role media play in exposing human rights violation. We all know that whenever you encroach, you infringe on the rights of others, you have committed a human rights violation. And remember that wherever your right stops, that is where another person's rights begins. So let us just listen carefully. It is pertinent to say that the media, as a critical stakeholder in democratic governance, maintains a vantage position in the socio-political development of our community, thus enhancing the rights, freedom, and social justice of the people, as well as strengthening the principles of the rule of law in our society. Without the rule of law, any society is doomed to be doomed. Meanwhile, let me seek your candid permission and honor to prosecute this subtopic allotted to me, the media as a watchdog for human rights, addressing the role media played in exposing human rights violations. As part of this general theme of International Human Rights Day, the year 2024, put together by Justice Development and Peace Center, JDPC, Catholic Archdiocese of Benin City. The topic, however, may not have escaped memories, as it is apt at this particular moment when violation of human rights are becoming fierce, uncontrollable, and unaccountable in every part of the world, with only few of these being reported or challenged in court. Human rights are being violated on a daily basis. It is becoming too fierce, too volatile. Then it is now becoming uncontrollable. There are very, very many, even around us, and in our country, in our community. You will hear people, if you listen to news yesterday, about 1,000 people were sacked in the community by Boko Haram, all these terrorists and every other thing. It is not right that you take human life. A man must have dignity to his life. The dignity of a man, it is when he has life, when he's breathing. So all these are all human rights. We are coming down. Let me go further. I must give kudos to our Reverend Father, the Director of JDPC, for your focus over the years and the struggle for Uhuru, Amanda, the struggle for freedom, for liberty of the people, which you have demonstrated over the years. Your time has surpassed that of your predecessors. I think it deserves a glass for that. For the want of time, I would like to elaborate on this topic on the ground that our exposure to a variety of viewpoints on human rights violation encourages self-expression and debate such as this that will help us to make informed decisions capable of reshaping our community or country. When we come together like this and put our heads together, it is very in that whatever we discuss today will assist us to reshape our community and the entire country as a whole. Because as we come here, we cannot just go home empty. At least we must take one thing home, that where are all these human violations? Where are all these rights being taken from other people? Is it fair? Is the press doing enough? We are going to see all this later. The media act as a mechanism for the prevention and investigation of allegations of human rights, violations of human rights violation, and that of electoral malpractices. It is not only when you maybe abuse somebody or you infringe on somebody's right that is just only a human rights violation. Those people who carry ballot boxes, rewrite elections results. Those people who announce fake results, they are also committing human rights violation. Because you and I will go to police station to vote our conscience, whether you are giving money or not. But you need to vote your conscience, whether your candidate will win or not. But at the day end, if your result, the result you expected is overswayed, these are rights of the people that has also been violated. Maybe we'll have 300 people voting in one unit, in one polling booth. Then at the end of the day, when the result will be announced, they will say 3,000 people voted. One political party got it. All those are rights which you and I have that has been violated because our conscience have been muzzled. So, who are the people responsible in reporting all this? We are coming for that. In our current society today, the media plays an essential role in safeguarding the transparency of our democratic process. This includes access to information, accountability of government officials to the people, legitimacy of individuals, that is, the protection of their rights, institutions and processes, such as the police and other security agencies, towards the rightful participation and public debates at all levels. Thank God that we have the police here, we have NCDC, and then we have the DSS. These are the people that are supposed to, first of all, the primary people that will protect our rights. They are also in this program. So you see why I said this program is out. The third arm of government, since the press, that is the judiciary, since the press, to include publishers, broadcast and cable stations, newspaper and digital publication, to enjoy press freedom. These people are to enjoy press freedom. The press are to enjoy press freedom. They don't have press freedom all over. It's not possible. We also see the data. The advent of smartphones, we have an Android phone, we have smartphones, now currently involved all over the globe, cannot be overemphasized as to exposing violent crimes against persons, as the power to restrain or restrain them is very rare. You cannot control the social media. If it were possible, I'm very sure that some people in this country or in the African globe will say there is no more use of social media. They can't stop it. They try to stop Twitters. They try to stop which other one, but they cannot, because people will have. If you buy your phone, if you see any issues that is against human rights, you have a right of recording it. If at all you cannot write anything behind it, you send it on air. Any person that sees it, what is this? And this one will prompt security agencies to look at it and say, where did this thing happen? They will go after the violators. It has happened in this town. It has happened. For example, when a lady was brutalized somewhere at the way to Benin, she was stripped naked, as if that was not enough, in the public place by some touts or hooligans, as if that was not enough. The lady, they went further to open her private part and pour in pepper. Is that one not a violation? And pour pepper. You know the pain that lady will receive. But thank God, our security agents were brought to that action, and those people involved in that heinous crime were arrested. They were arrested. So it was social media that made us to know all this, and they are part of the press. They are part of the media. Now, an independent news media uses its watchdog role to investigate and report on government mischiefs and their overreach tendencies, as well as hold those officials in power accountable to their actions. A free or independent press are fundamental to the democratic norms of the society, which allow the people to live with liberty. However, it is difficult to have a democracy without a free press. It is not usually easy. If you have a democracy, you cannot have, and you don't have a free press, we are not living. Because there will be whims and caprices of some of the officials. There will be autocracy. There will be issues where you can no longer talk, or whatever any person says will be the end of the day. No. The essence of the press is to balance the other powers of government, the other arms of government. Looking at them as a watchdog, that they don't have allocation. You know that the press don't have allocation. As the one in executive, legislators, and judiciary. Then they sit down to look at it. And wherever you are going wrong, they will tell you that this thing is not fair and it is against human rights. Permit me to say that the fundamental human rights, which form the basis theme of this year 2024, are enshrined in the Chapter 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, inclusive and practice of the Declaration of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, Ratification and Enforcement Rights, which are domesticated in Nigeria, and that of the United Nations Human Rights. These laws from African charters and United Nations are also domesticated in the Nigerian law. That in the case of Gani Fawehimi, in the case of Abacha against Gani Fawehimi, the Supreme Court ruled that such laws, African Charter Fundamental Rights, are not going to be enforceable, that rather we will use the local laws. You know, it is he who pays the piper that dictates the tools. You will see that all this we are saying, they said everybody is equal to the law. Do we really accept that or not? It is not everybody that is equal to the law. Some are more equal to the law than the others. Some are more responsible to the law. It is a government, like the governor. You cannot, under section 133, you cannot take them to court when they are on seat. Maybe the governor police one thing or another, the governor, the deputy governor. You can't take them. They are not answerable to you in the law court. But except they have left the office before they are now accountable. That is why that we must be very careful in whatever we are doing. That all these men in the executive position now, like the president, the vice president, the governor, they have license to kill. Before you can now enforce your right, it will now be law. At that time, you may have also forgotten when you may have left office. So this is why it is difficult that when we are enforcing our rights, we need to be very careful. And the press is the only veritable tools that can make this right to stay or not to be infringed upon by any violators. The media may not have also spectaculously explored the freedom of information law in Nigeria. You know, in the day of Jonathan said, all this one oppression all over. No, he initiated the FIOB and he signed it into law. That the press have an overreaching condition, tendency to say, let me go and investigate what is happening in this ministry. And if that minister or maybe the officer there refuses to give that information to the press, there is a liability on that officer. There's a liability. So that information being, I agree that it has nowhere been exploited by the press. But however, we are coming to it. The media may not have also spectaculously explored the freedom of information law in Nigeria to the benefit of the people, as the violators of human rights are mainly government officials and those agents of government. Police brutality, incarceration, and extrajudicial killing are all sentiments against the rights violation which are underreported. Police brutality. I'm very sorry, Commissioner of Police, but this is not an apology. There are still some instances where your men will go about to prosecute extrajudicial killing. People are supposed to be arrested and taken to court, and not to sentence them in the cell or in your station. Those areas, those kind of heinous acts perpetrated by police officers or by security men are dangerous. If these people cannot react now, then there is Almighty God that will look at those people and say, what you have done to these people is wrong. So, the incarceration of people. Let me also tell you one story. If the police want to sentence you to an incarceration, unwanted incarceration, there are ways they do it. They will frame charges. Maybe take you to a magistrate court. If you get to magistrate court, the magistrate court does not have jurisdiction over that crime. They will remand you. That is what they call remand order. They will remand, the magistrate court will look at it. I don't have jurisdiction on this matter. You are hereby remanded to prison, pending when they will call you. So these are way of incarcerating people, silencing people. Degree 2, in the days of Idiapo and Buhari, you all knew what happened. That they have power. The military have power to arrest person being tried. The person will be in detention. You won't try that person. All those are abolitionists law, and they are all against human rights. Look at the retroactive law that was that Buhari and Ijapo brought in their days, when they sentenced the three drug peddlers for execution, Miogo and others. Those are retroactive laws. A law that is made that is not expected to take care of a situation, you now turn it back, say, oh, that law has been made. These are retroactive. And the people were now vulnerable, they were all executed. Those are against human rights. You don't do it. And it is the press that reports all this. So, let's go further. Between 2013 and 2015, doubt overtook the mainstream of Benin City. Gruesome murder, inhibition of movement, land grabbing, among other ancillary human crimes against persons inundated the town. Have you all forgotten the killing that was made at Lagos Street? The person who did that killing was known. Was he ever arrested? Was he ever tried? Is it not a crime for somebody to take somebody's life unjustly? It is not a court that have decided it. All these things were reported, but the government of the day never listened. And they say, oh, we have settled that of God. And when somebody commits a capital crime, it's no longer between you and that person, it is between the state and that person. So all these ones happened in Benin and nobody talked about it. How many of these violators were arrested and tried? How many of them? How many of them? No. Malpractices against the conscience of the people during the election are also violation and abuses against human rights. I have mentioned that one earlier. Suffice me to say that the press had on daily basis swallowed fire while he gives you water to drink. The media, they will swallow fire on daily basis and give you water to drink. You can remember the cases of Thompson and Utuka Rabo when they were arrested. You can still vividly remember the case of Dede Giwa, who was given a letter bomb. All over the world. All over the world. These are the people, these are press men, these are media men, and you know what happened to them. They will drink water, they will swallow fire to allow you to drink water. How many people have also come up and say, this family of this journalist or this media men, let us go and visit them. It's not there because it is the avocation they have been called to answer. So, despite the hazards, nature of the profession, the media is committed to bringing those whose right has been infringed upon to book, apparently to serve as deterrents. Because the constant reportage of those people who violate human rights and those people, the press will continue to re-echo, so that one day, government of the day will listen. That is what I think. The media, particularly the social platforms, provides a powerful mechanism through which the right of freedom of expression, access to information, the accurate search for truth, and robust public debate can be fostered. The rapid dissemination of information sharing enables human rights abuses to be exposed. If you see something, you say something. If you capture any news, disseminate it, forward it to the public. At the time you start doing all this, one day, a lot of people will be moved against it and say, let us take redress for this human rights attitude. Nevertheless, the media is a veritable tool that raises awareness of human rights issues, expose violation, and empower people to take action. Hence, mobilization of public support and mounting pressures on authorities and organizations may draw the attention of government to take action against human rights abuses. The CSOs are looters. These are the people who normally comes out in Benin, in those states to say, oh, we don't agree on what has happened to one will happen to all. It is not often good that only CSO members should come out and carry out this task. We all should mobilize ourselves and come out. You saw what happened recently in Kenya. We don't want to talk of what happened in the United Kingdom and America over the cost of the hike in the cost of bread. We all come out. You see the Kenyans just tax. The same thing happening now in Nigeria when the executive is introducing a tax. The Northerners are already mobilizing against that tax that should not be high. All these are human attitudes because a section of the country will be favored than the others. Any law made that is tinted against one person is no longer a law because the law must be all-encompassing that everybody should bear it. So the press is mobilizing against it, and it is not only CSO that should also mobilize against it. Sarah and every other rights organizations, they should also mobilize against it because a law that will not be at the favor of you and I should not be a law. It should not get the glance of the day. In the foregoing, the media fought for this democratic governance for this country, and it will not relent in her hours in protecting it. This current democracy, these policies we are seeing now, of do election or democracy or that, it is the media that fought for it. Some people in government or politicians now, when we are fighting democracy, when we fought Abacha, Nadepo, must you fight must you be in the faraway lands and be fighting? What about the press that we are here? When a lot of media houses were being closed, Concord Press was closed, then Punch was closed, even as far as to the Observer here was closed. So those people who now claim, those politicians who now claim, do you know how we fought for this democracy? It is not true. You didn't fight for democracy. You ran away. You went to London and be eating hamburgers and salad. But those of us that were here drinking garri and say, Abacha, this thing should not see the light of the day. What happened to us? So it is the press that fought for this current democracy. I know that most of us may not have known that. As the fire experience in the draconian days of military rules in Nigeria will no way inhibit the press from carrying out her duty. The Buhari Idiako and the Ibrahim Babangida, General Babangida and General Bata, they all still remain in our memory. The violent and autocratic reign of Milosevic in Serbia, far away Serbia, in 1988 against his co-founder, Goran Meti, was resisted by the press. It was resisted by the press. The Prague Springs in 1968 in Czech, now Czech Republic, it was also resisted by the press. Well, how did they resist it? They were mainly sending leaflets, informations to one another. Yeah, that was how it was resisted. Iranian Revolution of 1979 and the post-election protest in 2009, the revolution in Tanzania, in Tunisia, and Egypt between 2010 and 2011 were promoted by the press through the use of cassettes and private radio broadcasts. Similarly, the Ukrainian Orange Revolution of 2004 and 2005 and other protests in North Africa and Arab world, Arab reawakening, were demonstrated by internet, mobile phones, and Twitters. These are faraway lands. The Kuso mother of Delekiwa, which I have talked before. Delekiwa was the publisher of Newswatch. Then you see the Otuka Rabo and Thompson and those were in Ganja and other these days newspapers. Then you saw what happened to them. Then all all these men, they are all pressmen. They have not relented. As a pressman, you must do your work 24 hours a week. Whatever that is happening in your society, because you are the one to feed the people in your society. Then, two, how can this right be implemented? It's by constant reportage. It's by constant reportage. Let me quickly tell you a story because I want to round up with the last paragraph. Somebody, a man, he was a poor man, but he has a land along First Settler. He was being oppressed. Somebody who has money just took over the land. The matter went to court. Then, all this, a man now said, he doesn't have money. I took up that challenge. I was following him. I had for some of them. I started following him to court. Until, if I would go to court with the man, he does not even have money to give me for transport. So, he now won back that land. As that case was decided, he now said the man should beat the land. The boy he was bringing to court that time, because the man, I think he lost his wife some time ago. One small boy like that. The boy now went abroad. He built a heavy mansion on that land. It's along First Settler. Then the man was now old. The man was now staying in the house. I didn't even see him again. But one day, I now looked at the house. I said, this was a disputed land that time. I now saw the man again. I said, Papa, how are you? He now said, he looked at me, he said, yes, blessed man, I can still remember him. It's not blessed man, it's blessed man. So I said, okay. He was very happy. I said, notice I say it's his son. That's his son he used to bring along with him to court that time. He said the boy is even around that. He was so called the boy again. From outside, he looked at me. The father now told him that this was a man who helped me to fight for your land. It was the reportage. It had to sway the opinions of the court. It had to sway the opinions of the public that this man is just trying to oppress this other man because he's rich. But I thank God today, the man got his back, and the man is dead by now. May his soul rest in peace. So it is the press that will do all this. If you see any human violation and you don't want to say it to the any person, say it to the press. The press will help in disseminating that information. It is my humble opinion to submit that the release for victims of human violence are too trivial. If human rights are being violated, the release at which the court will give to the violators are too trivial. It's either go and tender a public apology or go and reproduce the person from the prison, and all these are too trivial. But we crave for a stiffer legislation that will deter any unsuspecting violator. We are craving for that because we believe that if violators are being sentenced to prison, we see that the cost of human violations will then reduce. I want to thank you for listening.
We can do better. We want to graciously appreciate Sir Roland Osakwe for that very insightful and enlightening lecture on the media as a watchdog for human rights, addressing the role of media in exposing human rights violations. So we just learned a few things from there, where he said that the independent news media, the social media, and then the free and independent press are powerful tools that expose various human rights violations that we see around us every day. And that democracy without free press is a farce. It's actually not true democracy. And he mentioned that the FOIP, which was implemented long ago, has not been fully exploited by the press due to reprisals and brutality. So we hope that sensitizations in this regard can actually enable the press to fully exploit that bill and ensure that there is freedom of information. Then he also mentioned stiffer sanctions for human rights violators. Because if people discover that human rights violators are actually punished severely, it will serve as a deterrent for against further action. So I want to appreciate him once again for that very insightful lecture. Please round of applause for him. And while the lecture was going on, one of the commissioners for JDPC Benin, Mrs. Henrietta Agu, was moved to the high table. Please let us appreciate her as she gives her presence. You're welcome, madam. All right, we're supposed to have a brief Q&A session, but I will urge us, I will crave our indulgence to actually keep our questions and feedbacks and contributions until later, so that we can fully discuss whatever concerns that we have regarding this lecture as at that particular time. So moving on, we will go to lecture 1, which was previously postponed, on human rights in correctional centers, challenges and opportunities. And this will be led by none other, it's an interactive session, to be led by none other than the Director of JDPC, Executive Director of JDPC, Reverend Father Ben Ogwen. Please, round of applause for him as he comes forward. Thank you very much.
Members of the High today, all protocol duly observed. Good morning to you all. Human rights in the correctional centers, challenges and opportunities. When Sarola was giving the talk, all that was going through my mind was just hit on something. People are imprisoned unjustly. Put it there. But he began to make connections with all those who were in prison because they were doing reportage and how truth was being suppressed. And so that brought us to this topic, which for me is a wonderful and apt time for all of us to interact and discuss. So I will begin, it's a 2-3 page paper, but it will be interactive, so I will need you to give me your points as we continue. The introduction. The preservation of human rights within correctional facilities is a critical issue that impacts not only the incarcerated individuals, but also the broader society. Correctional centers are meant to serve as places for rehabilitation and reintegration. However, many face significant challenges that undermine their goal. This paper explores the current state of human rights in correctional centers, identifies key challenges, and highlights opportunities for improvement. So if I hit any nail, please identify. If it's not correct, please just tell me. The current situation of the correctional centers. According to the World Prison Population List as at 2021, the 12th edition, there are over 11 million people incarcerated globally. This staggering number reflects a system that often prioritizes punishment over rehabilitation. True of us. In prison, you are punished. Instead of correction, it becomes a time for punishment, leading to widespread human rights violations. In Nigeria, the National Bureau of Statistics reported that as of early 2022, the country had over 75,000 inmates, with many awaiting trials and living in overcrowded conditions. True of us, true. Our White House today is overcrowded. The other side, overcrowded. And when you tell them, who are those? Check. Those who are awaiting trials are more than those who have been sentenced. Awaiting trials are more than those who have been sentenced. So what are the key challenges in the correctional centers? 1, overcrowding. Normally, in the education sector, for instance, they'll tell you a class is supposed to contain at least 45 students. 30 to 45 students. Then when you enter a class, you see how many? 50, 100. Then they'll not tell you this is even A, then you go to B. So it's also in prison. When you get to prison, you see a room
with almost 70 persons or 100 persons, and they are standing in line. Like that's how they have to manage space. Some will stand like this, some will stand like this, you know, sideways. Some you cannot sit down. If you try and they will conk you. So overcrowding is one of the most pressing issues facing correctional facilities worldwide. The World Health Organization has noted that overcrowding can lead to increased violence, poor health outcomes, and greater risk of disease transmission. In Nigeria, many prisons operate at over 200% of their intended capacity, which exacerbates the conditions for inmates. United Nations Office on Drug and Crime says, overcrowding in a prison is a violation of human rights and is incapable to handle issues of rehabilitation. Tell me, when you enter a prison, for instance, and it's overcrowded, how can you see somebody to correct? Tell me, who will you correct there? You bring out one person to correct the person, and he's telling you, if I go back there, this thing you are correcting me now, I will go back there to do it again. Sorry. Why? Because the president there will lead the team. So we must now begin to look at overcrowding while we speak to prisons on these situations. Number two, lack of access to health care. I want to, on this note, appreciate and thank members of the Justice, Development and Peace Commission in the parishes that always make effort to visit the prisons to provide medical assistance. Every year, the Archbishop also, please put your hands together for the Archbishop. Every year, the Archbishop also visits the prisons to give support, medical items, food items, clothing, and all that, so that we will see how we can help reduce this health pandemic. We as JDPC, we have clients there. When we go to represent them in court and they come to court, you see them, their body filled with rashes. What's wrong with you? I know where. And even though you give them money for treatment, I can bet you that that money will not go in for treatment. If you give them money for food, I can bet you that money will not go in for food. What do we do? Many correctional facilities lack adequate health care service, leaving inmates without necessary medical attention. A study by the American Public Health Association highlighted that incarcerated individuals often experience higher rates of infectious diseases, mental health issues, and chronic conditions due to inadequate care. And this is becoming prevalent in our society. What do we do to manage that? We call on the correctional centers to open their doors for medical support. There are NGOs that are willing and ready to visit the centers. JDPC is also willing and ready to visit the centers if the correctional centers will open their door. Number three, abuse and violence. Physical and psychological abuse within correctional facilities remains a significant concern. Reports from human rights organizations such as Amnesty International, Justice, Development and Peace indicates that inmates frequently face violence from both staff and other inmates, undermining their dignity and safety. This includes sexual and gender-based violence. And when you ask, you hear one of the challenges in this number three is the, how do we call it now? Secrecy. How they try to cover it up so that you don't talk. The person cannot say anything. You know, that silence that goes with it becomes dangerous because of they suffer abuse there. Now, I want to ask the police representative, security operatives, if one is arrested and or imprisoned, is it a rule that the person should be beaten, mutilated to get information? Is it the right thing to do? No. In any system, is it the right thing to do? It's not the right thing to do. And if this continues, it simply means that the fundamental human right of these persons in prison is being what? Violated, yes. It's being abused. So we at Justice, Development and Peace, we are saying no to such an abuse. We understand that you need to get information from them, but that you now have to mutilate the person to get information. No. You don't abuse them to get the information. I was present somewhere one time when I saw somebody turning and instruments were applied. Instruments were applied, and the person, the guy was shouting, "It's not me, it's not me, it's not me." And I said, "Stop this." He just said, "Okay, get out of here." You know, so leaving the place, I felt sad. Protesting, I was on my own. But you see, in a system where we all need to become a voice, we need to now say no to this abuse and violence that takes place there. Number 4, stigmatization and integration challenges. Individuals released from correctional facilities often face societal stigma, making reintegration difficult. According to a report by the Vera Institute of Justice, many formerly incarcerated individuals struggle to find employment and stable housing, perpetuating cycles of poverty and recidivism. This is now a call for the correctional centers to continue to stress the need for skills in all centers, including the juvenile and maximum correctional centers. It is very important that they become centers for training of people. I understand that in some of the centers, National Open University operates, so they are able to go to school. But in some centers, some are not able to even do anything or learn a skill. We at JDPC had a situation sometime where about some persons were released and they came to the office. From there straight, they came to the office and they said, "I've just been released, I want to go back to my family." And the question I asked them was, "What will you do when you get back home? What did you learn?" He said, before I enter, I know at secondary school nowadays, JSS3 nowadays. But did you learn anything there? No. What will you now learn? How will you help yourself? These questions are becoming more for us. So the correctional centers should open skill acquisition centers where they will be able to train inmates. And don't say some no one learn. Everybody should be able to learn a skill. We cannot live in a world today without skills. And you need to learn the skill so that you will become part and parcel of it. Now, the question I would ask everyone, that is interactive. Many people are being released today from prison. What support will you give? What support will you give? How can you, don't say JDPC alone, because it is all of us. How can you now help somebody? Today now, some persons will be released. And when they are released, you see that they will stand in front of the prison. They will look at the prison. Then they will go to that shopping mall in front and they will begin to beg, "Please now, I've just been released from prison. And where do I go to from here? Madam, I beg, help me." And some days ago, I met some two. I've just been released. I want to go back home. So the security man said, "Don't answer them, or they don't collect money for you since morning." That's one issue. So what do? We everyone now, because let's put yourself in the picture. I am in prison. And while in prison, I didn't learn a skill. When I come out of this prison, what use will I be to society? This is where you, owners of industries, captains of organizations, should be able to now tell yourself, "I will impact somebody from there. I will teach somebody something. We will stretch out our hands to help this person. We will be ready to lead this person so that they will become meaningful people in society." We have many who have done that, and many of us can still do it. It is your responsibility. Somebody say government, wait for government now. wait for government. You will old now, but we need to help one another. This is where humanity comes in. We need to help one another. So it is you. I want that to be a reflection as we journey together. Because the issues of the correctional center are so unfortunate that they are not here. They were duly invited. We are advocating for them. So we expected that they will be here. It is for all of us to now say, if we are together in this. Then the other part is stigmatization. Nigerian system, please, the lawyers, correct me if I'm wrong. When somebody is released from prison and the word ex-convict, and so the person is not employable because he's ex-convict. So even though he has a skill, because he's ex-convict, you will not want to give the person a job. Because that alone is what? Stigmatization, right? How do we help these people to reintegrate? Ex-convict. You say this person, ordinarily somebody just went to SK police station and stayed 5 days. As he come and don't you go SK that day. Stigma. In 2019, I met a young man who was released from prison, and he went home to reunite his family, and everybody, they made a law not to interact with him because he was in prison, and the young man harmed himself. He killed himself. He said, nobody wants to relate with me, and so he killed himself. That's stigma. Now, you, me, and those watching us online, we can change the narrative. We can change the narrative because some of them can come out of that prison and they become better persons. Good preachers, good musicians. They can become good carpenters. They can even become good lawyers. In the American system, I met a man who was in prison, and while in prison, he studied law. He came out, he was called to bar. In Nigeria, when you go to prison and become a lawyer, will they call you to bar? Ex-convict. No, now, we are all here together. Ex-convict. That stigma needs to be removed. We need to change that narrative. We need to change the narrative. Because many remember your yesterday, they don't think about your future. That's where we now need to begin to change the narrative. Now, what are the opportunities for improvement? Number one, policy reform. Policy reform. Today we hear a lot of policy, but the issues on ground are not being addressed. The issues that affect the common man are not being addressed. Despite all these challenges, we need to do certain things to enhance human rights within the correctional centers. One, policy reform. Advocating for policy change, for policy changes, prioritization, and rehabilitation over punishment. And it can lead to better outcomes for inmates. Countries implementing reforms measures report lower rates and improves reintegration success. Countries need to begin to look at their policies to talk about the prisons, correctional centers. Then improve training for staff. Truly, we need to talk about the improved training for staff. We need to talk about the training of the staff and how they can handle issues. Because human rights principles and conflict resolution can foster a more supportive and respectful environment for staffs of the correctional centers. Programs focus on de-escalation and communication can mitigate violence and improve inmate-staff relationship. True. The next one is community engagement. We invited some royal fathers and they are not here now. We need the communities to be primarily involved. We need the community to be primarily involved. I met a priest who is a prison chaplain, and he gave me a story I want to share. In one of the prisons where he is a chaplain, some boys were released. And so when they released the guys now identified that we cannot go out there because we don't think people will accept us. So he accepted to take them to their community. And he did not take them to their families though. He took them to the head of their community and said, these young men have been released from prison. They are from your community. So the man said, let's look for who knows these people. So they identified families that knew them, and they came. And they said, your children have been released. They are our children. But I'm not just accepting them for accepting sake. I am handing them over to you to make them productive in this community. Meaning, anyone that calls them ex-convicts, armed robber, is in trouble. So he did not hand them over to their families, but also to the heads of the clans that made up the community. So that these ones will know and tell others. Now, they helped the young men to reintegrate according to the priest, gave them lands to farm, and they became productive for themselves. Communities also need to be involved in this action, so that when these young men and women are released from the correctional centers, they will be ready to go home and raise their head high, to be part of the community, to be reintegrated into their community. Not some that will be working in the community, they will carry their head down, and so they will cover themselves. I worked in the community for 8 years. You know, mentorship initiatives can empower inmates and those who are ready to be integrated into society. The last point before we hand over is healthcare. Healthcare before legislative. Expanding access to comprehensive healthcare service includes mental health support is crucial. Implementing telemedicine solutions and partnership with local health organizations can bridge the gap in healthcare provisions within facilities. Take for instance, in our facilities here, there's no crime in bringing doctors and nurses from UBTH to run checks for inmates. But somebody is sick there, they will call the family. They have the number. They will call the family, they have the number. Say, make una come, una person is sick. It's the Nigerian factor. It ought not to be so. Ought not to be so. One elderly person gave me a story of how somebody died in prison. What could have helped that person? Maybe malaria medicine or Bosca or something. But the person couldn't manage that situation and died. And they called the family. All they told the family was, you know where Mona come. When family came, he don't die Mona come. So what happened? The other inmates who were the roommates were not saying, now headache, now they complain, now malaria, now be there since yesterday. With the beg them, they bring money, make you go buy medicine. They don't answer us. You don't get money for here. You know the system, when you go, if you have been to the correctional centers, if you notice, you will notice that
prisoners buy their food, right? But there's a budget for feeding of prisoners, right? I beg you can answer. Prisoners buy their food, but there's budget to feed prisoners. I mean, there's budget. Okay, then when you now take food stuff to prisoners, for them to feed prisoners, is it PDP or what happens there? So now, what change do we seek? What change do we seek in the prison system? Now, also talking about policy, I want to, we are initiating and suggesting that prisoners should be able to vote. Yes, now. I don't know Nigerians. You should have the right to vote. Prisoners should also have the right to take decisions in society. At least if they cannot tell you reduce the price of rice, at least let them decide who becomes their leader, who becomes the president of the nation. So we at JDPC Benin, we are advocating that as much as we celebrate Human Rights Day, these ones that should be allowed to exercise their fundamental human right. Pope John Paul II tells us that every human has got his rights. It is inalienable, God's given. And we should all be able to exercise it, including those in the prisons. So we advocate that the state and the Nigerian state, should make provisions for the teaching hospitals in every state to visit the prisons in their locality and provide proper, adequate health care for the prisoners. Legislative advocacy. Advocating for legislative change to uphold the rights of incarcerated individuals is essential. Collaboration with human rights organizations can amplify voices calling for justice and reform. Let me just hit this straight. Human rights organizations these days, I don't know, many are vocal, some are becoming vocal. You know what? There's a vocal voice and vocal voice. The vocal ones know themselves. The ones who are not vocal are only just there because they are present. Now, to all human rights organizations, it is time for all of us to wake up and begin to speak for our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated. They should be given the opportunity to exercise their rights. So when we are shouting Aluta outside, it should not just be for us. It should be for us and for them. Everyone. The Catholic Church advocates for the rights of every human being. We all have our fundamental human rights. And those ones have their rights. Even though they are behind bars, they are human beings. Until proven guilty, until sentenced, you still have rights. I mean, so everyone should, even after sentence, thank you. So we should begin to advocate for them. The correctional centers now, for the staff of the correctional centers, some said the system is not so wonderful for them. So we are advocating that the correctional centers should take care of their staff properly, so that they will be able to take care of the inmates properly. In conclusion, addressing human rights issues in correctional centers is not only a moral imperative, but also a societal necessity. By confronting the challenges of overcrowding, inadequate health care, abuse, stigmatization, and sexual and gender-based violence, we can seize the opportunity to create a more just. As we work together, government, security, civil society, communities, and individuals, we can transform correctional facilities from places of punishment into environments that foster healing, dignity, and reintegration. Once again, make the correctional center a place of healing, dignity, and reintegration. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for our Executive Director. Thank you very much, Father, for that wonderful talk that we have given. So, as usual, he laid bare various challenges that these centers face when dealing with the inmates, and also challenges that the inmates face once they are done with their time at the centers, from overcrowding to SGBV to lack of skills to lack of access to healthcare, as well as other challenges that they face, and also the stigma that they face once they are out of the centers. And he emphasized on the need for community engagement, actually, because these persons who have gone there, they came from somewhere. So if they are to be reintegrated back to the communities, the community has to be sensitized on the need to welcome them back and ensure that they are made to feel human when they come back to their communities. He also drew comparisons with returned migrants, returnees who have traveled and then they are back to communities, and people look down on them as failures and all sorts. Because the suicide matter that he mentioned is what really happens. If you go somewhere and then you come back and then this is not too pleasant, you come back and then you are being looked at in a certain way, in a very demeaning way. Of course, it takes strong willpower to actually survive that particular experience and forge ahead. I had a very good experience when I was doing my youth service in Crossover State. We went to the prison, one of the prisons there, and I had not gone to a prison before. So we went to do an outreach, my CDS group, and then we saw, what I saw there was shocking, because I didn't know what to expect when I go to the prison, but I saw the dead people there. I saw they had pastors, they had people who led their prayers with every morning, they had people of different skills, diversifications, and then people who, lawyers, doctors, practitioners, in some way, in the centers there. So it changed my outlook about those who were in prison, and then I didn't see them in that light anymore. You understand? So I believe we can, if the government has the willpower, because if there is no willpower part of the government, nothing can actually start in terms of a change or a reform in the system when talking about correctional centers. So we hope the government has that willpower to listen to what has been said today, or to get this message and probably start from somewhere to kickstart a reform to make the correctional centers a place for healing, like our director has just said. So thank you very much once again, Father, for that discussion and for all the points that you have raised. So very quickly, we are going to move to an interactive session. I noticed that we have all been speaking from here. Either I speak, or Father speaks, or the presenter speaks, but no contribution yet from the audience. So I expect that, having listened to 2 lectures, at least you would have had 1 or 2 questions, 1 or 2 contributions, 1 or 2 comments to make, or clarifications, if any, about what has been said today and about the topic of today in general. So we have the floor open for comments, for feedback, and for questions. So anyone, I'll just take a number. If we have up to 5, we can take number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Please, I need an assistance. Yes, number 1, my brother there. Okay. My number 2. Please use number 3. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. Please take your numbers. Take your numbers. Number 1, please. Okay, number 6.
Hello.
Please, very quickly, so that those are the high people that we need, all of us can listen and make our contribution.
Yeah, my name is Commando Viveri, the president of Catholic Youth. I want to start by appreciating the speakers and the organizers of this event. I think it's timely and it's good we start talking, and not just talking, acting upon these issues. Before I go further, because I want to speak like a lay person, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not in the law people, so I want to direct my statement. Please, what is the difference between prison and cell? And how does it relate to correctional facilities? So before I continue, so that I know where my knowledge is going to, or my point is going to.
As far as you are behind bars, cell, prison is nomenclature. Being in prison is because law gives a guide that you are in prison for a number of years. Police arrest you and you are put behind bars. Say you are in cell. It's in cell. It's in cell because it's a small room. In the monastery, where the rooms where the brother stays called cell because it's a small room. But as far as you are behind bars, it's just a change of nomenclature. It's safe.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll go to the cell. I think that is where I know one or two things, and I've had several knowledge and one or two experience about. Father, I agree with everything you have said, and I wish we can actually make a document to implement and take to House of Assembly to implement some of these things. I just pray we can do it. Take out the salient points and take it to the House of Assembly and let us pass a law to ensure. Because the truth is, whether we like it or not, till tomorrow the human abuse will continue. I know in this case, most times we point to the police. Yes, me, I want to point to the police. A lot of them are doing a very good job. I have witnessed it. But we have so many bad heads. I will say it plainly. If we really want to start fighting this human rights abuse, I want to categorically say, let us go to the state what is it called? State CID. The abuse there is too much. I want to say it clearly, it is too much. I have had first-hand experience. The bad police should stop spoiling the good name of the others. It is too much. So if we really want to stop it, I think it has come to the time where police need to say enough is enough. Let them look at their house and fix it. The abuse, it is just too much. So my own suggestion is let us have a template. If all the heads here, including the police, everyone here, could have a template, we will go to the House of Assembly. If we have the right to move a law, we pick an honorable that will move it, let us have a law, because the truth is, the more we are keeping silent with this thing, the more persons are coming out to abuse. I have been in the prison cell where some persons who they just went on their own, police called them and said, this matter happened in this place. So we would need your opinion on it because we heard that you were around there. The person on his own went there, a youth that I know. He went on his own to state CID. Getting there, they now asked him, okay. Police now said, okay, you have to make statements. Police guided this person on how to put statements. He said all of these things. The next thing, what we saw was that police bringing his own WhatsApp picture, darkened the picture, and said, this is what CCTV captured, that you were in the crime scene, you committed the crime. The next thing we saw was this person taken to the backyard in State CID there, they have a bush corner there, and beaten with cutlass, forcing to speak. I have that experience. At the end of the day, the person spent 6 nights in that place. Nobody knew, if not that he saw somebody on his way while he was going, nobody would have known he was there. They now have to look for and did a protest before former AIG of police now got to know about it and ordered that he should be released. So if things like this are not addressed and made a public thing, like the journalists have said, a lot of us don't know our rights. And I think it is because many officers are benefiting from this. That is why this abuse keeps on going. Because the authorities knows about it. Before I got here, at the streets coming, I was getting something and I heard officers and staff were talking. DP a lot of people have stopped the collect ticket and jokingly they were just, that means authorities knows everything, but they don't want to do anything about it because they are benefiting from it. That is my point.
Thank you very much. All right, next question, number 2, Madam B.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate all those who have spoken. I'm from Girls Star Initiative, where we teach children and women how to know their rights. We are rather from a preventive perspective. We want to prevent things from happening rather than having it happen. They will now start looking for a solution. So when people, I've never been to the prison, but I believe that if we have a saner society, the people in the prison will be fewer. The society is not safe at all. I want to build on what the last speaker spoke. I too have an experience of people going to police. When they got to a police station, the case was turned upside down, and they extorted money from this particular person and threatened that she would be put into prison for something she actually knew nothing about. If the people, the family didn't have that money to bring out, maybe they would have sent her to prison. So in that prison, 4 walls of that prison, I believe that there are people that are innocent in that place. So if we have a saner society, these innocent people will not even find their way to the prison. Therefore, those who are hardened criminal, there should be a different place from there for them. Because when you take somebody that has just stolen 5,000 naira to the prison and gets there to meet somebody that has killed somebody, they are not too, although they are same, but the grade is different. So when that person now comes out, you will have learned from the person that killed and now go to start killing. So I believe that we really have to do something. I don't know what we have to do, but we have to do something in this nation that will make us to have a saner society. It begins from upbringing. Parents should learn to parent their children very well and do the right parenting so that their children will not turn out to be wayward or delinquents. Then the people that are in position, they should learn to govern well. The lawyers should learn to do the case very well. You know that somebody has killed somebody, you now go and turn it upside down, and then the person, an innocent person, now put in place of that other person that is guilty. Then the police that will just throw somebody into cell because they refuse to bring money. It's just, everything is just so rotten. May God help us.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mrs. Smith. All right, number 3.
Good morning, everybody. Okode Abraham is my name, the ED of IFF. My own perspective might be a little bit different, but I'll just build on what Mrs. May said. I live in a community where there's this warder. When he was building his house, he didn't pay laborers, it was prisoners. He brings them from the prisons to do the work. I even had to accuse him one day. I was like, these people are supposed to be the one building your house. You know, the issue of the family, my own opinion is that we need to have a population policy in this country. Because what is really driving this corruption and everything is the kind of the size of the family that we have. I worked under a director when I was in government. He has 10 children. Every seminar, every workshop is the one that goes. Even the one for cleaner is the one that will go. Because he needs money. He's the one that needs money more than every other person in the office. So this issue of having a family size that is more than your pocket drives you into doing devilish things. That's why even next year we'll still come back and talk about this thing. Because whether it's police, you're just hammering police, you've not seen customs, you've not seen immigration, you've not seen what they do. I have an uncle that is a customer. If you go to his house, you will be so shocked what he has. Terrible. So it's everywhere. It's not just police. There are, whether you are in the ministry, anywhere you are, we Nigerians, we are just devilish. It's just a special species. We're just a wonderful species that is different from every other person on earth. Even if you make the law that this guy said, we will still look for another way to bypass it. You know, so, but I think it was two things for me. If we have a family size, if people are limited to 1 or 2 children, this crime, this whole money craze, it will drop. That's my own opinion. The second aspect is, until you catch somebody, the person is not a thief. Sometimes you see people recording police collecting money and all that. That's when the police now get serious with it. If you are going to this prison and you carry a hidden camera and you record what you see and you put it in the social media space, you will see the president's attention will be drawn to it. If you write anything here and send, you are just wasting your time. So the issue of holding people accountable, let me conclude with this. If something happens in America, for example, maybe somebody goes out shooting, the next day you will see media surrounding that person's building. They will be there reporting, they will go to the school, they will go to the house. Those are embarrassing and intimidating ways. You know, so the whole families will be embarrassed. We don't have such things here. If somebody commits something, for example, and you just pursue a matter where the children go to school, where the wife is working, where the people will become normal. We are not normal in this country. It's the truth. It's not be blaming police. Everybody is abnormal in Nigeria. We just need, until you catch me, I will deny it. So if we could buy these small cameras, whether it's the pen or whatever, anything you want to talk about, get evidence. Just put it out there. That's where people take you serious. If not, every year we'll keep talking about human rights, we'll keep talking about GBP, we'll be coming back to where we were. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, before we move to the next set of questions, we will just have reactions from the President of the Commissioner of Police. Thank you very much.
Yes, my Lord, sir, and every person present here, I've actually listened to various contributions and questions raised. I want to quickly say here that the police is seen as corrupt for so many reasons. One, they are the closest to the people. When husband and wife have issues, they run to the police. When there is a theft somewhere, to the police. When you are driving along the road, to the police. But I bet you that you will all agree with me that the police is a child of circumstance and necessity. The Nigerian police force, for instance, have been so battered, more than what they actually, everything that is said about the police, that actually is true. Nigerian police is a reflection of the Nigerian society. At the time investigation was carried out, and they concluded that in every Nigerian-born child, there are traces of corruption flowing through the bloodstream. Some persons faulted that argument. But then look at it categorically. There are a lot of truths in that saying. Like the last speaker said, that if a man reduces the number of children he has, he will be less prone to corruption. To some extent, you are right. But to a large extent, you are not right. Somebody who is corrupt, for instance, it is inherent. We are Nigerians. We all know where these problems are coming from. I'm not trying to defend the image of the police because I'm an officer. I double as a lawyer too, for instance. So I know the law. Like the other person said, the police ordinarily, there are a lot of improvements. It is no longer business as usual. There are so many laws that have been put in place. Police don't just arrest you arbitrarily like that. Unless there is a complaint, unless there is an information that will warrant you to be invited. And if there are lawyers here, they will agree that when you are invited by the police, you owe it a duty to honor that invitation. Then when the police is searching for the author of a crime, for instance, they don't call the judges to one when you are looking for an author of a crime. Nothing prevents you from throwing questions to any persons from which you think information can be gotten. So that is the reason why, in most cases, police make this invitation or just go, pick 1, 2, 3 persons, not for punishment, is to assist in the investigation of a crime that has been committed. Our society as Nigerians, there are a lot of persons that have information that may assist the police or law enforcement agents, for instance, in cracking a crime that has been committed. But they will be told, the police, for instance, are not magicians. Then, when you talk about experience with the police, a lot of persons have not actually had interactions with the police. A lot of what people are saying is they are based on hearsay. But the police, having known some of these issues arising almost all the time, there are sections that have been created around the whole federation or police headquarters. There are departments called human rights sections. When your right is abused, for instance, you have a right to go either by way of petition or information or by oral complaint to lay your complaint. And when you lay this complaint, I bet your attention will be given to that. When you talk about police issues relating to brutality, for instance, gone are the days where until you force somebody, until you have to hang the person before you can elicit truth. If circumstances are able to show that at a particular point in time, you were at that scene of crime, you played one role or the other. This is a modern age, for instance. When something is happening along the street now, with the help of CCTV camera, can be captured. When you have some of those clips, for instance, like the other speaker said, they have to darken and show that the person was there. That is not true. Because whatever thing you are using, you already have the CCTV footage. Scientifically, there are things that can be easily verified. And if you have to go to court with that person, those are part of your evidence. You are going to show the clip. And in course of interrogation in court, you must be able to establish how you got that clip. And you must be able to convince the court before anything. So, the police, like I said, kind of, they are victims of circumstance. And when we talk about corruption, for instance, the police are even more and less they have less access to actually being corrupt. But for the fact that along the road in Sabre Road, you are seeing them. At Ekema Road, you are seeing them. At different places, you are seeing them. One, the government, with due respect of the day, has actually failed in its responsibilities. Those people you are seeing there, the vehicles they are using, the fuel they are going to pull that vehicle, the maintenance of those vehicles. Then when you get to the police station, for instance, if you are going to make the barrel you are going to use there are not provided by government. So you see the sorry states of the police, for instance. But you cannot say this when you compare them to some other security institutions. And if you are listening very carefully in recent time, you see police officers that are retired clamoring, asking the government to come to their aid. A situation where a human being served 35 years of his fatherland meritoriously, and you will be going home upon retirement, you have a stipend of about 1 million or 2 million naira or 3 million that cannot even afford a land. So if, for instance, you are not able to get this thing before your retirement, where is your hope? Like the 35 years you are putting, it's like a punishment. And this is the same police that is being castigated by everybody. So, my brothers, like I said, that is no longer business as usual. The new law now, the administration of criminal justice laws for the state, for instance, you don't, or you no longer detain persons more than necessary. You don't. Because intermittently, magistrates visit the cells to check if there are offenses that are of less weight. They order such persons to be released immediately. If there are offenses that carries capital punishment, like murder, like armed robbery, rape and others, you will be instructed to tidy up your investigation within the shortest possible time and charge to court. Duplicate your files to DPP. In the course of that, if the DPP now comes up with an advice to say XYZ has no case to answer, and so be it. No longer business of the police. Then when you talk about people in prisons, for instance, police don't just pick you and send you to prisons. When police arraign you before court of competent jurisdiction, if that offense is bailable, it is the discretion of the court to say this offense, you'll be granted bail based on this or based on that. As at that time, the police is a little bit out. Suspect are granted bail on certain conditions and they are able to meet it up. That is where they go to the correctional centers, pending when they are able to meet with this condition. Then, unfortunately, the correctional centers, because of the overcrowding as identified by a lot of shortcomings, logistics and other things, I've had the opportunity to go on with the CJ for prison visits. And you see a lot of these correctional centers, they are in sorry state. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that their representatives are not here. The problem is systemic. It's a Nigerian problem. The Nigerian factor is a very big factor that has not made things to actually work in this country. I know there are a lot of challenges, but that is not to say, as the saying used to go, that among 12, there must be some Judas, for instance. There are some bad elements within the system. Don't they say about that? But there are still some good ones in the system. But there are laws regulating all your activities. So, going by these provisions, the police, at every point in time, are not actually how they are being painted. I feel that they are excessively painted more.
Thank you very much, sir, for that reaction to the questions that have been raised in the comments also. All right, let's have number 4.
Director of the ABC and members of the High Table. I just want to highlight 2 issues. The first one is when somebody takes you to the police station, the police seems to be on one side against the person taken there. 2 weeks ago, there was a case. Somebody came to arrest somebody for a borehole not well done. And then when the police came to arrest, they said courtesy, murder, many things on their account. When I go to the police station, I said, police, what is the connection between courtesy and this old man here that is doing this thing? He said, you know, when there's a threat, when there's this, I said, okay. But that is not the issue here. So, what I'm trying to say is that they try to make it so complicated for you to say something. And at the end of the day, we were not able to make anything out of it. And so we were forced to, and then short, after that thing, they said we should pay. I signed the day, everything. I said, can we go? He said, no, why did you go? I said, but I've signed. They said, no. Then they said we should bring 100,000. I said, but bail is free. He said, no. Then the senior officer now came. I said, madam, we relate. I said, this man says bail is not free. And that's why I'm not with me. She was weak. But to be very frank, the senior officer prevailed when I saw that I was insistent on bail is free. The senior officer prevailed. But the other thing I want to say, second thing I want to say is that, one, the police is not policing the society enough. That is why there are so many crimes and intimidations all over the streets in Benin City and everywhere else. Too much intimidation. If this morning before I came here at Ring Road there by Central Bank, a lot of harassment of people, you are not parking when you are not doing this one well. And most of these things, they ought to be CCTV those areas so that people will see. And not only being there, people will know that they are there so that they will behave themselves when they are in public. There's no much decorum in the public in Nigeria here, or in, let me say, Benin. People misbehave anyhow. Somebody can just snatch your car and beat you with the car. And so the police are available, security, civil defense are there, this NSS, this, they are there. Everybody that is a security officer, they pretend to be available. You look at the crowd, you don't see a policeman there, you don't see civil defense there, you don't see another person there, only the civilians, and then you are left in the powers of dogs in the society in this kind of era. So I think we should do more than we are doing. Enough police, there should be enough policing in the society. People should be protected, especially in public places, in parks and on the roads. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Just to portray what he has, there is work to be done on both parts, both with the citizens and also those in authority. Because if we keep blaming one another, we will not go anywhere. So please let us keep the next sections brief. Ask your questions briefly, make your comments briefly so that we can move ahead. Thank you very much. Number 5.
Good day, everyone. My name is Aisha Sani from Federation of Muslim Women's Association in Nigeria, Form 1. I want to thank the 2 speakers that speak earlier. I enjoy the speakers' lecture, especially the Reverend Father. I think I'm interested in that correctional center of 18 because when they changed the name from prison to correctional center, I think it was to be correcting the inmates. That is why they changed the name. We have enough law in this country. It's the implementation that is wrong. So, I love that one. Let us pursue it so that they will establish all the skills in the correctional center. law that as soon as you come out in the skill you are doing, let you be established so that you will be useful to the society. Then secondly, I think there will also be integrated in the farming system so that they can also be producing food that we will be eating. We have shortage of food in the country now. If we engage in farming activities, by the time you know it, we will start selling the food that is being produced from the prisoner, and we will have enough food to eat. Then I want us to still go back to community society. Before now, when a child is growing up, everybody in the society will have the privilege to correct that child. So if you are doing wrong, anybody can caution you and tell you that this is what you are doing, it's not good. But these days, everybody is on your own, nobody is correcting anybody. At the end of the day, all of us suffer the ease of the society. Let us go back. Let every child in the community be everybody's child so that we can correct whoever is going out of the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a very crucial comment that she made on how we can prevent crimes in society, and also how we can utilize those who are in the centers by making them productive so that we can also fight food insecurity in the country. Number 6.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. Thank you for finding out time to join us today. I want to start by sharing my experience of something I saw yesterday. On my way back from work, we saw some policemen searching the bag of some girls. And my colleague said, "Barrister, police get right to search that handbag." And I told him, police cannot walk up to me and search my bag. They must have seen something. They must have trailed them from somewhere. Why am I narrating this story? We don't know our rights. Today is International Human Rights Day. We don't read. Like the prosecutor said, I called him our great pros. Good afternoon, sir. When the police approach you and you know your rights, I am telling you, the ACJL has it there. If you don't want to speak without the presence of your lawyer, don't speak. Don't say anything. Let us read. Read the Constitution. Read our criminal code. Read the ACJ. I'm telling you, when the police know, sometimes, I'm very sorry, pros, but sometimes they act the way they act because they know you don't know what you are doing. Let me give an example. With a case we had in JDPC, there was one day, Father called, that they had somebody around Aroba. And I told Father, police hardly approach women. They cannot just hold a lady, search her bag and say they found something. They must have seen something. They must have seen. If you know on your own that there is nothing in your bag, why are you afraid? Stand up for your rights. Today is Human Rights Day. Stand up for your rights. They will do these things because they know you don't know your right. And there was also a case we had where a boy said police approached him, took him to POS, and asked him to withdraw money. We followed up that case. The past, I think, 2-time past commissioner, Kokomo, he was interested. He personally called that he's going to follow up. When case set, I don't see my brother again. He said he's no longer interested. So sometimes we should stand up. Like Mommy said earlier, this issue of bail. There are sometimes when you stand up and tell the police, I won't go pay. If you now kill me, they could not kill me. I am telling you, they could release you. An agent, let me also add this one. There was an agent managing a house and said an electrician also came to work in the apartment and died in the roof, in the ceiling. The agent went there because he was the one managing. They detained him. I said, Oga, we go there and they look their eye today. You don't go pay. You know they stay in the house. Not be you call the electrician. So why will they detain you? I now told the man, give me 20 that. Before I came back, the man don't pay for bail. He don't come on there. That is why they see lawyers as bad markets. Once a lawyer comes, they will tell you, now this matter, you don't go call lawyers. So we should learn to stand up for our rights. And Mr. Abraham, like you said, next year, we are still going to say this. Yes, we will keep talking. Just imagine the way the society is, despite the fact that we are talking. Then imagine that we are mute. We are not saying anything. I bet you, we don't know where we for day now. So let's keep talking. Know your rights. Stand up for your rights. No matter how little the provisions are of the ACJL, nowhere it talks about bail. Nowhere the VAP law talks about domestic violence. So that when you get to a police station and say, my husband slapped me, they say, go back, na family matter. Show them the provisions of the law. Speak with the law. Speak with authority. Not just say bail is free, then you see that. Which book talker? We don't even know. Approach a lawyer. Don't be afraid. They can explain to you. So let us know our rights before we can say, oh, the police. And just like he said, I will not lie to you. The police are not extremely bad. As bad as we actually think. We still have some good ones. We still have some very good police officers. Just know what you are doing. And I'm telling you, we'll have our way as Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Know your rights. Very, very, very important to know your rights. If you don't know your rights, the next. We had somebody, okay, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nnebisi Raphael. I'm from Healthcare and Support Initiative. It's like the whole discussion here is totally, every speaker is actually hammering the police force. Between the society, the correctional center, and the police force, they are in the middle. We are speaking about overcrowding in the correctional center, which the police force are contributing to that overcrowding. If we have large number of people going to correctional center, they pass through the process of police before going there. Some are there for not committing any crime. If the police have done their work with the fear of God, we have less numbers in the correctional center. We know the society is bad. The government has not been treating mostly all the military, all the establishment very well. But if police want to anchor on that angle and say they will bounce back on the citizen, then we are still standing on the same spot. Do you say because you are not well paid, then injustice should be meted to the citizens? If you begin to count the bad men from the police, we won't live here. We know of wonderful good ones among them. I have the reason whereby robbers came to rob me in the middle of the night by 12 p.m. And I put a call to go on police highway. And the question they asked me, are they in my room, in my flat? Could you imagine that? I've witnessed where the police were pursuing the so-called, we believe the so-called Yahoo boy. One way. And this guy had a terrible accident and the police turned back. If at all you are pursuing them for a crime, an accident happened, why don't you take them to the hospital? Then you follow the procedures. So, if the right thing is being done, somebody did not bribe you in order to maltreat another person, then you give justice. That center, correctional center, will have less number of people there. I will have less number of people there. We won't be talking about health issue much. The last time I visited prison, I was crying. Provision was made. There is budget. If we are not sure everybody here is left, there is budget provision for correctional center. Provision of food. Where is that money going to? The police keep on saying about, you came to police station, money is not provided for writing material, money is not provided for fuel, money is not provided for that. Is that a yardstick why the fellow citizens should suffer? I see NGOs are doing great work. Some individuals are doing great work. There will cause that some collabo you can do with some people, good citizens, who will be willing to donate some materials. It happens. But what we don't have that is all about our pocket. When we talk about greedy, we are human beings. The same God that created the white created the black. That's no different. It's about your conscience. If you assign your conscience to the devil, then you can't make any difference. The police contribute 80% to the challenges we have in the correctional centers. Because if I report to the police station, if they reported my matter to the police station, and the police carry a due diligence in doing the investigation to know whether this man or not, then they will know the next step. I've been to police station whereby they robbed me, and I complained. I was expecting them to ask me money. But after beat everything, the man, I said, is there there? He said, he can go, sir. But when I carried my investigation, I found out he's my church member. The second time, 4 weeks in our office here, we went to police station to report. After reporting, can we go? Now, by the start of the very who came with and how we speak, they don't know the person who we are. And if you can give us money for anything, fine. We should be professional in some certain situations. I bet it from my own view, I might be wrong, but I'm sure I'm right to an extent. The police have a major role to play in ensuring that the crowdness in correctional center is being decreased to a large extent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Okay. Before we take, I think we'll have just 2 last questions. Please, one at the front first, before the one at the back. So, but before those questions, let the...
I'm back again. Ordinarily, every person is entitled to his own opinion. It may be right, it may be wrong. But one thing I will assure you is this. Constitutionally, the police is the agency or a part of the agency when you have any challenges that have to do with crime, you go there to make your complaint. The police owes it a duty to commence investigation. But in the course of the investigation, the police cannot be able to conclude that you are guilty or not guilty of that crime. That's why we have the various institutions like the court. It's not left for the court to now say, yes, I agree or I believe the evidence given by XYZ and you are convicted. There are differences between suspects or inmates that are awaiting trial and the one that have been convicted and sentenced. One of the reasons for overcrowding, when cases are taken to court and bail being granted to these persons, for instance, because of the condition of the bail, if you don't meet with the condition, you go to prison until you meet with the condition. But that is why we should have the legal representative. Get the services of lawyers. The lawyer, the condition given are so to the extreme. They can approach the court and plead with the court to bring down the condition to enable you to be able to meet with the condition and you be granted bail. But in a situation where none of these are done, you have to be coming from prison for your trial. And if we have about 20, 30 of such cases, what do you expect? They remain there as awaiting trial inmates. So what is the fault of the police? So, my brother, we perform our duties, the court do their own, and the other person does their own. The society will be a safer place for us all. So I think that's taking care of. Police don't take side, please. It's your investigation that reveals whether there are evidence to buttress the complaint that was made or not. And the court, in the course of you as IPO coming to give evidence, the court is going to assess you, assess what you are saying, and put it to the ordinary man's test, for instance. The way we are looking at it from the bench, the ordinary man in the street, if this same set of evidence are presented before that shoemaker, before that market woman, will really look at it. That is the court. Court acts based on evidence presented before it. No taking of sides. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
All protocol resolved. My name is John O. Eyefia, the chairman of GBPC, St. Joseph. I think the constitution of Nigeria is more than what I compared to animal farm, where some are important, others are inferior. Inequality is the base of convention. Now, what I refer to animal farm is that in our constitution, National Constitution of 1999, amended, some have impunity. Some, why shall we remove impunity? In you, how can you say I'm inferior, whereas God created us equally? Natural phenomenon is there. If you go to prison here, correctional center is what they term it now. It's not correction. Incorrection. Yes, because we go there every Sunday. I have to thank the director, the executive director, of monitoring what is happening in correctional centers in those states, not all over here. Because if we go to overcrowding, it's the bane of connection there. Health is the net of human beings. Budget, the government bring budget to everywhere. Where is the money going? Is it vanished? Or we are talking of overcrowding. I think overcrowding to be left to the judiciary. I rest my case.
Okay, so very quickly before
with due respect, Issue of overcrowding, for instance, is a major issue we are addressing or trying to address. One, when some of these correctional facilities were built to serve Nigerians, our population was not as big as this. Some of these correctional centers were inherited from the colonial masters to serve a particular size of population. Now it goes back to the government. A situation where in Benin, comprising of a lot of other local governments, for instance, the only correctional service we are having is the White House, and the number that are expected to be there is limited. Then go to Oko, limited number. Crime is being committed on a daily basis, and our population is increasing on a daily basis. Government is not making a corresponding arrangement to increase these facilities. Even the existing ones, they are not being properly taken care of. Like the other speaker said, you have to feed yourself. Is that not an abnormal situation? Then talk about Edo Central, for instance. We only have Ubiaga prison to serve Eboma, to serve Urumi, to serve Igweme, to serve a lot of these areas. And the population is increasing. Crime wave is increasing. Auchi again, for instance, the correctional center there is to serve Auchi, is to serve Akukwedo, is to serve Afuze, is to serve Sabogidara, is to serve Abenibode, is to serve. How will the prisons not remain overcrowded? So we shouldn't shy away from the truth. That is where it is coming from. We also know that there are other challenges. There have to be an increased provision in facility and the welfare. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, if there is no willpower, I believe, from the government, from those at the top, if there is no willpower to work on these reforms that need to be carried out, we will remain where we are. And the problem will not only get worse, it's going to affect the rest of the population. So, the government has a duty to perform, to increase allocations, to make provisions, to make correctional centers work so that they can serve their purpose for which they've been created. Thank you very much, sir. The last person, please. Very brief, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Albert from National Human Rights. I had a very terrible experience, so I wanted to ask a question here. After the INEC election, on my way home, when I got home late in the night, I had some armed robbers that came to attack me. They collected the money that was with me, they collected some of my things that were with me. They had guns with them, so I didn't want to follow them and argue on anything. Then the next morning, I had to go to the nearest police station to report. When I got to the police station to report, despite telling them what happened to me, they asked me that I have to drop money for statements and reports before they can further investigation. So I wanted to ask, sir, is it these days now, do you have to pay for money and reports or statements before investigation can be carried out by the police? Thank you, sir.
Hello. Well, the last speaker. All these things you are talking about, they are supposed to be provided by the state for the use of the institution called the police. For instance, even the vehicle that was supposed to take you as a complainant to visit the scene or go and do one or two things is not supposed to be your responsibility. But because of that same giant factor we have identified, it is your case
or though the offense committed is committed against the state, you are just a witness of the state to be able to drive home and show that a crime has been committed. But you have the right to say you are not paying anything for food stamp or anything. The police will still take your complaint. Okay? Then if you will feel so aggrieved, you cannot ask for the attention of any superior police officer and express your dissatisfaction or your complaint, and I bet you action will be taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please, our protocol duly observed. My name is Mr. Jonathan Aichi. Please, I want to say something on what I've just observed this morning as I was coming to this JDPC. Today we are celebrating Human Rights Day. I so much thank God that I'm here with you, and I thank God for every one of us. What I observed this morning as I was just coming, I was not happy over it. If we are celebrating Human Rights Day, I think it should extend to the lunatics. As I was passing the junction of Ewa Road, between Ewa Road, I saw just middle woman stripped naked and running around across the road, trying to steal the vehicle. I want to appeal, if it is the authority of the government, to do something about that. You know, I feel it means that though they are lunatics, they should have their own right. Something should be done to put them in a place where they will be comfortable and not left in the society to be roaming about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if anyone has any response to that. Okay.
Thank you. On my way to the office, I saw it. And the first intervention we tried to do when we were coming was the woman stopped. And that prompted me to stop. The woman said, what do we do with this person? What do we do with this person? Even the woman said, the person, the lunatic, attacked her. So she ran. So I know people are intervening, but it's the responsibility of government. But you see, the problem is where there's a failed state, we also find the brunt of it. Yes, but we were able to. I gave like some people money there to see how they can help manage her, which the promise that they will do. And I gave them some money to just help manage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that correctional centers, as we know throughout the country, it's a place where inmates are kept. And a lot of people have accused the police as being responsible for 90% of them in the correctional center. Where I want to also say that I want to view it differently. I want to see it differently. That the police, as we know, they are our friends. The people committing crime in the police are not the officers. You will agree with me that this higher officer seated with us here that have been answering questions will not ask you for 100 naira as a bribe. He will not, because it will belittle his status for coming to ask you for a bribe. The people that commit crime, because it is in every profession, there must be bad eggs. The people that commit crimes in any society or in any profession are the little ones that are just coming. Hey, harassment, this, that. But because of their over-seriousness, they have split on that uniform. I will lock you now. This. No. The elderly ones, or what I mean by the elderly ones, those who are already superior officers, they will not harass you. They will want to listen to you. They will sit you down and want to listen to you and see the crux of your matter. So, as you have also debated in this session, let us know our right. Victims of say, you want to put me for sale, how much I go bring? No, you must know the reason why you want to be put in a cell. Don't be in a hurry. Anxiety should not come up whenever you are confronted with any trouble. Don't be too, don't exert much anxiety. Look at it critically. If it is warrant you going to the cell as you have been threatened, or look at it. Okay, you want to take me to cell. I won't say anything and let my lawyer come. When your lawyer will come, you will explain to your lawyer. So, if your lawyer now listen to you, he will want to know what you have done. So, let us know our right, and let us not to be too hurry, not to be in a hurry in doing what is wrong. Don't be in a hurry to do what is wrong. So if a policeman accosts you, like if you go to the town now, all police officers, they are all on the road. Vehicle, stop, this, that. I will tell you that at the end of that exercise, no single motorist will be arrested to the station. What that happens? Because I don't get driver's license. My paper not correct. Take. You say, okay, go. But if you are composed, you have your driver's license, your vehicle's particulars are up to date, nobody will harass you. Nobody will harass you. So today, let us stress this message to every nook and cranny in our state, that you must know your right, that if human violations by any person should be protected, so that everyone around us, our families, will get to know that we are very useful, or this lecture is very useful to us. Thank you for listening.
Yes, let us clap for. Thank you very much. I believe one of the reasons why we are in a hurry to just, settle the police in this case is because we've heard or we've experienced so much negative. We've had bad experiences, we've heard of bad experiences, and then we don't want to go through all those experiences, and then instead of just trying to be patient, be calm and composed, like he said, okay, let me just go, and then we are in a hurry, and then we don't even know our rights, and the police take advantage of that in those circumstances, and then we are now doing what we're not supposed to do. So, I believe that is where the issue is. So on this day of human rights, let us know our rights, let us know how to stand on our rights and exercise our rights appropriately when the need arises for that. So we'll just take one last contribution before we move to the next one, sir. Very, very briefly, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Chupo Yeneke, JDPC St. Augustine Parish President. I want to add a little contribution on correctional centers. I will start from when I was a copper. I served in the north and have a little Catholic prayer. And during that period, this group volunteered for community service. We were going to the correctional centers, then known as prisons, to teach. And while we were coppers, we weren't really demanding for any payment. But they were giving us honorarium, they call it transport fee. We were teaching. We were teaching the inmates. And they were all, most of them were registered for school certificate. They said they now outside
the school. But that place was turned into a mini school, and all the classes were represented. And they were enrolled. I remember during that period, I was teaching the practical class. So they were doing practical experiments just like we have in other schools. Within that period, there were also some workshops. I love the carpentry workshop, I love the fabrication workshop, I love the electrical workshop. These workshops are functional. And those inmates were undergoing training by professionals, guided by professionals. And at the end of the day, they took teacher and guys examination, and they come out as a professional in their respective fields. This is what our director was saying, that by the time they leave these professional centers and come out, there's a little stigma on them. And when they come out, what are they going to do when they get home? Of what use? They see themselves being someone that have failed, and because they have failed, they go back to the crime. But if they learn these truths, they will come, when they come out, they will have something doing. They can afford to stand on their own. And that stigmatization will go because they are no longer poor. They will be like any other citizen. The problem which we are really facing is implementation. Because every year, a lot of money is voted for these workshops. A lot of money is voted for these schools to run. When I heard about this workshop, when I know that this thing is going to take place, I looked at some of the papers, and I was overwhelmed when I saw the money voted for the vocational training in operational centers. And just last 3 months, when we went to the operational center here for St. Augustine, none of those workshops in Benin here is wrong. Then the question, where is the money? Are you telling me that no money came to the Benin any of the Benin correctional centers? The idea is implementation, and who is holding the money and to be used to fund these workshops.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Okay, so, but before we have a very quick, I just want to, I've been reliably informed that for the man, sir, you reported about seeing a lunatic, someone who was mentally, yes. So I've been informed that you can actually report to the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues, present the case to them, and also tell them the location where this person is, so that they can take the right action. I believe they're also involved with abandoned children, orphans. Okay, so please, that is the right step to take. So I'll hand over to the police representative to tell us something about our rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, we'll be talking about right. Today, we're celebrating the International Human Rights Day. And like my colleague did say, not all Nigerians actually read. You don't actually know where this your rights are. You don't hear of rights, human rights, right. What actually are these your rights? That's what I want to quickly just run down. Human rights have been provided by various charters and laws all over the world. We have the African Charter. Then in Nigeria, we have the Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. That's areas where your rights are actually exposed. And some of these rights were termed fundamental human rights. And they are rights that are inherent in all people, regardless of your background or status. They are intended to prevent discrimination and are considered to be above the ordinary laws. When this your right are breached, for instance, you have the right to seek for redress in court, the High Court, either Federal High Court or the State High Court, and the necessary sanctions. And
and the necessary provisions and reliefs will be granted to you. Like I said, it is regardless of race, it is regardless of your nationality, it is regardless of ethnicity, it is regardless of your language, your religion, or any other status. Human rights include right to life, right to liberty, right to freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, right to work, right to education, and many more. There's also freedom of the press, like my friend mentioned. The press actually has a lot of role to play in seeing that any violation or breach or threatened breach of your right is adequately and spontaneously reported in a news media. The dignity of the human person, your personal liberty, your fair hearing, private and family life, freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, and of course, freedom of the press. These are the rights that are inherent. These are rights when they are breached, you can always seek for redress. Not just saying your right can be breached. If you don't seek for redress, actions, equity helps, be vigilant and not the indolent. If your right is breached and you are not able to challenge it, meaning you have already acquiesced, you have accepted it by faith, well, this thing has happened, so be it. But when it is challenged, you will get some relief. So I believe that from this lecture, we must have gained one or two things concerning the rights that actually we have as individuals. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Know your rights and exercise your rights when necessary. Thank you very much. So quickly we move to the next section, which is a fundraising session, and then I will introduce Barrister Teresa to coordinate that session. Thank you.
Good afternoon once again. Thank you all for being here. We are not going to waste your time. Well, we are going to be looking at JDPC's activities. I know our sleep have gone round, but it is also wise that you see some of the things that we do as a body. For those of us that are just hearing about JDPC Benin, Justice Development and Peace Center. It is a faith-based, non-governmental organization that carry out humanitarian activities. And in Nigerian setting, we know, once we hear humanitarian activities, we know what it entails. Our services are free. We do not charge. For the legal department, we all know we carry out, I mentioned some activities. Some of these activities we attend to free of charge. When we go to court with our clients, all they tell us is, thank you, barrister, after the court sittings. And for some, for the sake that we do that for humanity and for God, for some of these clients we do not even see after the day of their release. And so reasons why we are calling for support, nothing will be too small. These lawyers don't get appearance fee, just like we all know. We don't get any pay after court sittings. We do this for humanity. We go to courts, we put in our best, we visit the DPP, we visit the police stations. And this call, the response to this call comes from all of us on daily basis. We have a case here, we have a case within our activities covers Edo South Senatorial District. where we have 7 local governments, and we can tell how much that is. We go around for sensitization. This is one of our outings on our campaigns against sexual and gender-based violence. We all know about that. These activities, once again, we do not get funding. We do not get paid for them. But with your support, we carry out these activities. We work. Some of these activities are on Sundays. We work even on Sundays, effortlessly rather, to give our services to humanity. So on this ground, whatever you have to support JDPC Benin will not be too small. We also have a microcredit scheme where we empower women. For those that have benefited, they know that JDPC Benin do not have much. It is a revolving loan. When we pay back, we give to another. The interest rate is small, and it is that interest rate we give out as ordered by the funders, which is Swiss hand. So we appeal these days. This day, give your support. Nothing will be too small. Nothing also will be too big. Give your quota to the society. It might just be your 1,000 naira that will help that inmate that has been suffering. Your 1,000 naira can help a lawyer get to court. Your 1,000 naira can help JDPC Benin team get to that remote village. And while I hand over the mic to my amiable director, Reverend Father Benedict Owono, I want to say, as we support our activities, I pray God continue to bless and reward you in abundance in Jesus' name. Amen. I will then hand over the mic to Father Ben.
Thank you, Ben. I want to thank every one of us, members of the high table, all protocols duly observed. I want to welcome in a special way members of the National Human Rights Commission here and celebrating with us. Today, I woke up this morning to a message that states, today is Giving Tuesday. Today is Giving Tuesday, and I said, wow, so today we are reminded to give and to give our quota. JDPC Benin, through the years, have always relied on the support of many, you, and all those we support. Recently, we embarked on a medical project to help a woman who was reported to, her leg was about to be amputated. Why? They couldn't afford the money to treat her. So I told my team, go to the hospital and see what is happening there. So they got to the place and they saw the woman in bed and how much was needed to commence treatment. 300,000. If they cannot commence treatment for her leg will be amputated. So I said to them, what do we do? They said, Father, we don't know. So I called everybody together and said, sit down, share your salary into 3, give me 1. So that was the beginning. Share your salaries into 3, give me 1, including myself. So we started sharing. When we were done, I said, go back to the hospital, go and give it to them, let them start treatment. So they did that. And when they did, the daughter came to say, Father, they are treating the woman already. Father, thank you. Father, thank you. She was crying. I said, why are you crying? We were able to just treat because of what we had, not because we had it in a pool. We didn't have a pool of money. We just had something to gather and then make that payment. So, my dear friends, your support to JDPC can make a great deal. Not only your support for today, please go out and talk about it. Just as you run your NGO, please talk about your NGO, talk about what you do, and amplify it to everybody. And let the support they give be seen. Because it's enough for one person to support you, it's another thing for the person to see the support they are giving. We have become so transparent to the point that we no longer hide what we do. If you go to our Facebook page, all the pictures you are seeing here, they are there, right there on our Facebook page, they are there on our website, jdpcbenin.org. You can easily access that and see for yourself. And we need more of your support to be able to make things work out well. You know, you can see election pictures going on there. This was for Edo governorship election and how the British Council came to observe what was happening at the secretariat. That's the talk for another day. So I thank you all for coming. Please give your quota. God bless you.
A round of applause for our executive director. Thank you very much. And just as he has said, nothing is too small, nothing is too big. Your 1,000 naira, 500 naira, 1 million naira, as the case may be, can go a long way in supporting the activities of the JDPC, and it will help in bringing succor to those who are in need of it. So thank you once again for your support. So we are just going to have the closing remarks be given by Mrs. Anne Chibuso, after which we will have a group photograph in front here, and then we will have the closing prayer, then we will depart after we pick our lunch bags. Thank you very much. Mrs. Anne, over to you.
Good afternoon, Lord. Blessed are the peacemakers. My name is Anna. I want to sincerely appreciate everyone that out of your busy schedules you were able to come here to honor us, to join us for this wonderful day, International Human Rights Day Celebration 2024. I want to sincerely appreciate one person. He just left now. One Mr. Valentine. We met somehow last week. He came with a case, and then when I was sending out messages, I mistakenly forwarded the message to him, and he was just the least person I expected to be here today, and he was here. He said, although he's busy, but he just have to come here. So I want to appreciate you, Mr. Valentine. I want to appreciate everybody. I want to appreciate Mr. Abraham from Savi. You have always been there. I want to appreciate all the people from all the Mommy May. I want to appreciate Mr. Onome. I want to appreciate DHSB, our neighbors. I want to appreciate PCI. I can see many of you that I cannot begin to mention your name. I want to appreciate sincerely Sir Iyefia for always being there. He's our daddy and he has always been there. He's the first to come here today, and he's always the first to come to every of our program. And if I'm not mistaken, sir, please can you stand up? If you see him, you see that he's in fact, he's the oldest of all we have, and he has always been there. He's 88 years. And he's the first to attend every of our program. Today he was the first to be here, and I bet you that if we do that program tomorrow, he's going to also be the first to be here. So I want to also sincerely appreciate Caritas Nigeria. They have been a wonderful partner, a wonderful neighbor, a wonderful colleagues. From there, we were able to pick Emmanuel to come and be our MC for today. So I want to appreciate you so much, sir. Please thank your we sincerely appreciate for giving you out to us today. So to everyone that is here, JDPC, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And you know we can't do it alone by ourselves. We need to work together. We need to build more synergies. We need to let others know what you cannot do. Let the person that can do it know about it so that we can work together, and then we have a safer Edo State, a safer Nigeria, and a better society at large. Thank you very much for coming. We'll see you again next year. God bless you. Thank you. Please, before I forget, sorry, I forgot. I cannot also end without saying thank you to communication, Veritas Communication. I want to sincerely appreciate you, and I am also sending appreciation to the Director of Catholic Social Communications for being here to stream this program live. Everything we are doing here is live. And then VOS TV, thank you so much. Please send me thank you to your boss that also directed you. So please, I want to appreciate you, especially Sir Osawe that gave us the lecture. We informed him within a very short period. And he's a very busy person, and he told me, you don't have any program, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to do what I know how to do best. And you can attest to the fact that he did so well. So thank you so much. Thank you. I will call you again. Thank you all at the high table. Thank you, Sir Mr. Sonny Okumai. We want to appreciate you so much. To our mommy, thank you so much. He's one of our commissioners. To our patron, Mr. Abraham, thank you so much. from DSS, SSS, all of them, thank you so much. Mommy, thank you so much. I think you were with us last year and you are here again. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, our invited guests and our guest speakers also, and also those of us in the audience. Your presence is appreciated, and we hope that what we have learned, what we have shared in this meeting, shall indeed be fruitful and to go a long way in enhancing the human rights of those of us, those around us, and make the world a better place at large. Thank you very much. So please, if we can quickly come to the high table so that we can have a group photograph. Can everyone just quietly move to the, sorry. Before we do that, please, let us close the program with a prayer.
Yes, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Father of mercy and grace, we thank you for all you have done for us. Thank you for leading us this far. Thank you for being there with us as we began. Thank you as we come to an end. We pray that you lead your children safely home. We pray, Lord Jesus, to grant everyone wisdom, good health of mind and body, and the grace to make a difference in our society. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. The Lord be with you. May Almighty God bless and keep you all, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Peace be with you all. Thank you very much.
Please, if you have filled your slip, kindly return them to JDPC or to myself. Thank you very much. Please, let us move forward for the group photo. Okay, just members of the high table, let us kindly. Civil society is represented, please just speak the everyone just